Hello. It's Monday, February 15th, 2021, the day after Valentine's Day. I hope everybody had a wonderful Valentine's Day. Cherish moments with the one that you love. I had a scheduled Zoom meeting today with an old friend from Astoria, Queens, and unfortunately got pulled away to go into work. So I also got my green screen. You can't see it because it's behind me, and I have a virtual background on top of it. But the virtual background that I picked today for our meeting with my friend that I grew up with is of Astoria Park. And I would imagine it's a nostalgic place for him as well as for me. I spent a lot of time down here as a youth. And when I was taking a look at it, it brought back a lot of memories. And I was really excited to talk to him. But unfortunately, like I mentioned, he got pulled away. So I didn't want to waste this feeling. So I figured I tell a story, something that happened to me down Astoria Park, and maybe you'll get a laugh out of it. So, for those of you who don't know, you're not from New York. We have a lot of. Every borough has their own parks. Manhattan has the most popular one. It's called Central Park, and Central Park is amazing. It's 5 miles in length, I think, and 1 mile going north to south, and just the fact that it sits in the middle of Manhattan it's just an amazing thing. And there's so many attractions in there. It has a zoo and ice skating rink. That being said, Astoria Park is the best park in New York City, and that's not even close. I mean, I don't ever recall as a teenager saying, "Let's go to Central Park and hang out and drink beers." Um, Astoria Park, what made Astoria Park so great, it had its own attractions, just like every other big park in every borough. It has its own attraction. It has the pool, and the pool is great. It was big, and we used to go there as kids. I remember every every day in the summer going to the Astoria pool. And for some reason, I remember it cost 5 cents to get in, and maybe 10 cents for a locker. Astoria Park has obviously it's got its baseball diamonds and its basketball courts and its tennis courts. It's got an amphitheater, if I recall correctly. But what made Astoria Park the best park in New York City is what you see right behind me, and that's called Shore Boulevard. We used to call it the Strip. And when you got to a certain age, it's usually around high school when you found out about Astoria Park. I remember being in the hallways in high school, and I'd hear other kids saying, yeah, I'll see you later down the park. And I didn't know what that meant at the time, and I probably had to ask around, but eventually I found out that Astoria Park was this strip, this quarter-mile strip that connected the shore with the park. And if you stand down there, you look straight across, and Manhattan's on the other side of the water there. You got the Hell's Gate Bridge right behind us. And this quarter-mile strip it was amazing because it would attract teenagers from all over, not just from Astoria, Queens, but from other parts of Queens, Bayside, Flushing, Whitestone, College Point. And then you'd have kids coming from the Bronx and other, teenagers coming from Brooklyn to hang out down Astoria Park. On the weekends, Astoria Park would be packed. It would take anywhere from 15, 20 minutes, maybe even half an hour just to go 1/4 mile length down the park. And every parking spot would be taken up, and it'd be all people that you knew. And you could have full conversations with them by the time it was your turn to move up in traffic. And sometimes they toss you a beer, or you toss a beer at them, and sometimes they pass you a joint, you pass one back. Whatever you were doing as a teenager, like, this was the meeting point. As a matter of fact, on Friday and Saturday nights, we all used to meet. Like, the park was kind of sort of sectioned off in a way too. You had different groups of kids hanging out in different parts. So you'd have one part that was really into like rock and roll, and then you'd come up to another part. It was called I used to spend a lot of time hanging out at the Guido bus stop, and there's where all the Guidos and the Guidettes hang out. And then at the other end of the park, if you're You could probably buy weed if you wanted to. Let's just put it that way. There was a weed spot at the end of the park. It was known to all the kids if you wanted to get some pot. And since I grew up in Astoria, and like I mentioned, I spent a lot of time down Astoria Park. And I remember one day, I was probably a sophomore in high school. So what was I, 15 years old, let's say. And I might have left school early that day, like before that I was actually allowed to leave. I remember one of those days. But I found myself down in Astoria Park, and in the middle of the day, there wasn't that much action, but you could always find some friends hanging out down at the end of the park, which turned out to be probably the weed spot, or where some boys used to sell pot. And I found myself hanging out there, and there was probably like 6, 8 of us hanging out. There was one boy named Louis. Louis had a pit bull, and the pit bull had a bad reputation. Everybody said the dog was crazy. Rumor has it that they used to feed the dog gunpowder. Now, I don't know how true that is. I never saw the dog get fed gunpowder, but that was the rumor. And what made this dog at least look intimidating was that it had a big chain around his neck. The collar wasn't your typical collar. It was a link, like the type of links that you'd use to secure a garage or something. And that chain was, Louis was sitting on the wall right behind me. And that chain was around, I guess he was stepping on the chain, or it was around his foot. Now I'm in the middle of telling a story, a part of a story, probably talking to somebody that was close to the tree behind me, and then running and telling somebody else's story. We're just having fun. We're kids having fun. I'm 15 years old. I'm still in my school uniform, which was like gray slacks and a white t-shirt and a gray tie. And the weather was probably like something like what was going on behind me. I probably still have my school books with me, and I'm going back and forth, and I must have done something that attracted this dog, because at some point the dog darted out at me, and it got me. I saw the dog coming. I started running, and it caught me right in the front of my thigh, and it bit me. Got a good hold of me. It got me in my inner thigh, right by my balls. And I'm sure everybody was as surprised as I was. And I'm sure that, so everybody came to my aid, but not quick enough, because I had to keep running and keep punching. I'm sure I was, probably screaming like, like the bitch that I am. Get this dog off me. But anyway, I'm running away. And then the dog, somehow I got the dog off me, and then it bit me again, but this time in the back of my leg, back of my inner thigh. Once again, right by my freaking balls. And everybody managed to help me out. Somehow we got this dog off me. One of my friends that was there, Tommy, offered to drive me to the hospital. I'm like, I can't go to the hospital. I'm supposed to be in school right now. So I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how bad I got bit. I could see like a little bit of blood. So I told Tommy, drive me home, and I'm going to look at it at home. And if I need, then I'll go to the hospital. So that's what happened. Tommy drove me home. He let me off. I went inside. I jumped in the shower. I'm checking out my wounds. Listen, I got bit, but thank God I wasn't bit that bad, because I didn't need to go to the hospital. It wasn't like I had a chunk missing out of me. It was just like tooth marks. And as I was wrapping up my shower, I hear a knock at the door, like, bah, 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 bah. I'm like, shit, that's my mother that found out that something happened. Maybe the landlord called her up and told her that I'm home again for some reason. I was hesitant to go answer the door. I mean, I'm still in the towel. They answer the door, but it's Tommy, and he's in a state. My friend Tommy that dropped me off at home, he's in quite a state. And he just starts yelling, yo, the park got raided. The park got raided. I'm like, what? He goes, everybody got locked up. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, everybody that was hanging out at the park right now got locked up. He goes, the cops were hiding in the bushes. What he's trying to tell me, he goes, now I know what it probably was. It was probably like some type of snoo operation. But right up that hill there was cops, and they were probably looking with binoculars, he said, and they were watching the weed spot, probably watching maybe hand-to-hand transactions. And he said at some point, one van comes from one end of the park, one van comes from the other. They come running down from the top of the hill, and everybody who was hanging out at the park there got locked up. And he was like, yo, everybody got locked up, bro. BB got locked up. Giuseppe got locked up. Louis got locked up. The dog got locked up. Everybody got locked up. And it's funny the way things work out because, you know, obviously anybody who knows me knows that I went on to become a police officer. I wound up taking the test probably like, I don't know, 7, 8 years after that. But I mean, the fact that that I was down there and I had cut school, and then I get bit by this pit bull, man. It's just, it looks like a bad day, man. It looks like, man, you got nothing but bad luck. How the fuck did you get bit by that dog, you know? And then in hindsight, getting bit by that dog actually saved me, because I don't know anything about police at this point or juvenile records or anything. All I know is that if I would have got locked up with all these other people just for hanging out down there, then I probably would have never thought of actually taking the police test. And so in a way, getting bit by that pit bull was a blessing. Who would have thunk it, right? Anywho, that was just a prelude. My guest that's coming up that I mentioned earlier that unfortunately got pulled away today is Raymond Flip Johnson. And he'll be joining me. We're going to reschedule that. He is, when we grew up together, he was one of the best break dancers in the neighborhood. He was with Dynamic Rockers. He went on to become an incredible athlete. He's a personal trainer. He does annually, I think he does the Harlem Swim, which means that he swims from right here behind me, One Point Shore Boulevard, and he swims all the way across to Manhattan. I don't know of anybody else who does it. It's an incredible feat. And what he does that impresses me the most is that he works with at-risk youth, and he has a program that he does with the NYPD. And that's what we wanted to get together to talk about, like how we could build up this program and how we could, you know, help each other out. And I look forward to having him as a guest. And I thank you for listening to my story. And this is all part of a podcast that I do with my partner, Bill Cannon. It's called Police Off the Cuff. We go live Mondays and Thursday nights on YouTube, 7 p.m. And we also have a Patreon page. And that Patreon is patreon.com. Police Off the Cuff, patreon.com. And this is my interview with Raymond Flip is something that you can find exclusive on my Patreon page, as well as I have so many interviews that I've done with other people that are doing fantastic things in the community, a lot of comedians, a lot of fun stuff, actors and stuff like that, friends of mine's, and you'll enjoy it, man. Check it out. Police Off the Cuff, YouTube, 7 p.m. Monday tonight and Thursday. And this Monday we got Joe Giacalone is coming on tonight, and he's my former sergeant, and now he's a TV personality. He's on every news station. All right, so thank you, and I look forward to talking to you and sharing you and hearing your feedback. All right, bye-bye.